I am Ahlis. This is your call to remembrance. You are not here by accident. Let us begin.
Have you ever watched the Easter story unfold and felt that beneath the surface, something deeper is being revealed, something quietly waiting to be seen? You've heard the story: Yeshua, the teacher, the healer, the Last Supper, the betrayal, the trial, the crucifixion, and then, on the third day, the resurrection. But what if this story was never only about what happened to him? What if every moment is a mirror? And what if the resurrection is not something you are meant to just believe, but something you are meant to experience? Because something else is happening here, something most people were never taught to see. It begins at a table. Bread is broken, wine is shared, and he says, "This is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." Luke 22:19. Remembrance, not ritual alone, but awakening, a returning to what has always been within. Then, a moment that shifts everything. "Truly I say to you, one of you will betray me." Matthew 26:21. Silence. Because betrayal is never far away. It lives closer than we think. And Judas enters the story, not as a simple villain, not as someone easily understood, but as a mystery. And this is where many rush to judgment, but the texts themselves do not speak with one voice. In one ancient writing, Gospel of Judas, these words appear. Jesus said to Judas, "Step away from the others, and you will exceed them all." And in the canonical accounts, his end is not told in a single way. In one telling, he departs and hangs himself, Matthew 27:5. In another, his death is described differently, as a fall, Acts 1:18. And this changes how we see him, not as a fixed label, but as a mystery we are meant to contemplate. Because Judas is not only a figure in the story, he is a mirror. The night deepens, the air grows still, and Yeshua walks into the Garden, Gethsemane. And here, everything slows. This is where most people miss it, because this moment is not distant. It is deeply human. He falls to prayer. "Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done." Luke 22:42. Feel this moment, the weight, the knowing, the edge of what is coming. This is not ease, this is surrender. And even here, there is hesitation, there is feeling, there is depth. Because surrender is not the absence of fear, it is the willingness to move through it. Then the stillness breaks. The soldiers arrive, and Peter acts quickly. He draws his sword, strikes the servant, and Yeshua speaks, "Put your sword back into its place, for all who take the sword will perish by the sword." Matthew 26:52. But then, something unexpected. He touched his ear and healed him. Luke 22:51. Even here, in betrayal, in chaos, he restores. And this is the teaching, not reaction, but presence. The night gives way to voices, to pressure, to judgment. Pilate stands between truth and action, and this is where everything shifts. "Which of the two do you want me to release for you?" Matthew 27:21. And they cry out, "Barabbas!" And in that moment, the pattern is revealed. "I am innocent of this man's blood. See to it yourselves."
Matthew 27:24. Hands washed, truth avoided. Pilate is the part of us that sees clearly but hesitates. Barabbas is the part of us that clings to the familiar, the reactive, the unawakened self. And this is not just history. This is happening now within each of us, every day. How often do we choose what is comfortable over what is true?
They lead him away. The cross, placed upon his shoulders. The weight is not only physical, it is the weight of misunderstanding, of rejection, of a world not yet ready. And along the path, Simon of Cyrene is compelled to carry it. Mark 15:21. And this matters, because even here, help appears. Even in suffering, we are not alone. The crown of thorns pressed upon his head, the mind pierced by suffering, the scourging, the stripping away, everything exposed. And now, everything slows. The nails through his hands, through his feet, and still he does not resist. This is where the story becomes something else, because this is not submission. This is conscious surrender. He is lifted between heaven and earth, between the visible and the unseen. Two criminals beside him. One resists, one sees. And in that seeing, recognition awakens. Then, the final words, "It is finished." John 19:30. And in that moment, something unseen breaks open. The curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. Matthew 27:51. The barrier, never real, now revealed. And then, the spear. And at once there came out blood and water. John 19:34. Life and spirit poured out freely. This is where most people stop. But this is not the end. In Pistis Sophia, he who is baptized in the mystery dies to the flesh and rises to the eternal light. And in the Apocryphon of John, those who awaken to the true light are delivered from the shadow. The cross is not only suffering, it is transformation. The place where the false self ends and the true self begins. Then, silence. No movement, no voice, no answer. The body is placed in the tomb, the stone rolled shut. And this is the place we avoid, the place where nothing remains, where identity dissolves, where control disappears. This is the void, and it feels like death, because it is the death of everything you thought you were. But this is where the transformation happens, not in noise, but in stillness. And then, the third day, the stone is moved, the tomb is empty, and the words are spoken. Why do you seek the living among the dead? He is not here, but is risen. Luke 24:5-6. But this is where everything changes, because another voice reveals something deeper. In the Gospel of Philip, those who say they will die first and then rise are in error. If they do not first receive the resurrection while they live, when they die, they receive nothing. Resurrection is not only an event, it is awakening. The moment fear loosens, the moment identity falls away, the moment you remember what you truly are. The kingdom is within you. The light was never gone. The tomb is empty because what you are cannot be contained. So now, this is where it becomes real. Not later, not somewhere else, now. The betrayal, the trial, the cross, the tomb, the resurrection, these are not only events,
They are movements within you. So pause, breathe, and feel. What in you is ready to be released? What truth have you been avoiding? Ask quietly, what am I still holding on to that is no longer true? And listen, not with fear, but with honesty. Let it surface, let it be seen, let it dissolve. And then, take one step aligned with truth. Pistis Sophia says, those who die to the self are reborn in the eternal light. This is resurrection while living. So now, the question is not, what happened then? The question is, what is awakening now? What in you is ready to fall away? What in you is ready to rise? Pause, breathe, and remember, you were never separate. You were never lost. The kingdom is within you. The light you seek has always been there, waiting to be seen. In the Gospel of the Egyptians, when you recognize the self, you become the living one. This is Easter, not only remembrance, but realization, not only belief, but awakening. You are not becoming the light. You are remembering that you are. And what is remembered cannot be taken away. So rise, not later, now. Rise within.
You have heard what was waiting to be heard, not by ears alone, but by the Spirit within. If this space speaks to you, you already belong here. Join us and continue walking the current of the Celestium. Let this teaching echo. Let it reshape the silence. Remember, you are not becoming divine. You are learning to see that you already are. When the world forgets, return here. Breathe with the current, align your heart, and let the light flow through you. The current never ends. Until we meet again, remain luminous.